All week I've been streaming and I've been competing in Remote Duel tournaments with prank kids. Now, all week, as you know, I've been changing my list constantly, showing you what cards I'm tweaking and changing to make the list better and better. And now I believe I have found the best prank kid list after all the tournaments that I played in, and I'm going to showcase it to you today. Guys, this is what I believe right now is the best current prank kid list. 40 card main deck, 15 card extra deck, 15 card side deck. And let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the list, how you found it, test it in your tournaments, because I do believe this is the best variant of prank kids to date. Okay, without further ado, let's begin. So the prank kids we're playing 2 Roxys, 3 Dropsies, 3 Fansies, and 3 Lampsies. So personally, I believe these cards, you only need 3 of these each and then 2 Roxys. Now, I began with playing 3 Roxys and I found, yeah, this is kind of like, there's never cards I always want to banish late game with. It does interfere with there only can be 1 as well, and these ones are just the generic, like you just prefer to always start with one of these cards over Roxy's, and especially late game, these gain more value compared to this. So those are the 11 prank kids that I play. Now for the rest of the prank kids engine, we play 3 Pandemonium. This card is so good. Actually disgusting that it's a quick play. Really is disgusting. 2 pranks. Now the interesting thing with pranks is I did begin to play with 1 pranks, and time went on and I played 2 pranks in the last tournament I played in, and I found it to be amazing because usually when they stop me from making meow meow and then they ash my other guy and I don't have a response or an extender, I can just play pranks, discard a spell or a monster of a prank kid and make a token, and then link summon the meow meow and the token into Doodle Doo, which will then let me add Place or Pandemonium. Well, I'll pretty much be adding Pandemonium here because I would have continued else, and then I'll distribute the Doodle Doo and then add back from the grave the one that got stopped and also the one that I discarded for pranks, and then I'll just set Pandemonium, pass, you know, solid. So I think 2 pranks is needed for sure. And I also play 2 Place. Now I don't think you need 3. This card is insane in terms of like chain blocking, especially when you go second, but yeah, I don't think you need 3 of these cards, especially with Droll everywhere. It is essential that you do play this card, but you don't always need a turn 1. And I'd rather play 3 Lampsies over 2 Lampsies instead of, because in case of like Desires, like I don't mind Desires, banishing with Desires this, but I don't want to banish my Lampsies, and so I'd rather not cut it to 2 Lampsies. I'd rather play 3 Lampsies and 2 of these instead of the other way around. Now the spells. I played 2 Desires. Now I did play 3. 3 was always an issue for me. Okay, it's amazing to start with, but later on I just always found that I was drawing 1. Roxy's, I was drawing another copy, or I was drawing one off the other, and I just found that playing 2 just seemed right. 2 made more sense to me, especially in this variant of list. So I cut Desires down to 2, and I don't regret it. I think my success rate for it is way better with 2. I played 3 Cyclones. Instant Fusion card is insane in this deck. It's absolutely insane. 1 for 1. Call by the Grave. Triple Talents. Now, I found Talents to be amazing. Like, this card was just insane. Like, the ability for me to summon a prank kid, link the prank kid away, make meow meow, and they respond. And I have no extenders, but I have triple talents. I could either play it, look at my opponent's hand, take a vital card from their hand, and start them continuing, or I could just draw 2. And also taking their guy is pretty good when you go second, because usually you can just like make Phoenix and then continue that way if you do have it already, that like the package in your hand, like the extenders, etc. And then 3 droplets. Now I really like droplets. The beauty about this deck is it really gets far for just 1 card. So you don't really mind sending other cards with droplets. You don't really lose out given what the deck does. So I like droplets in this. It's the fact that you can't respond to it. You don't really mind if you have it. If your opponent goes all out with Dragon Link and you just have this, you're fine. So yeah, I like droplets. I like talents. Call by, Cyclone. I think it just all works quite well together, especially given what the format is today. Skill Drain. Now, originally I sided Skill Drain, and after playing various tournaments, I found that I always wanted this in my main deck. I didn't mind having it in first or second, usually, and Skill Drain was just broken. It was so good every time I had it. It really did put my opponent into a really bad spot. And the beauty is all my prank kids activate in the graveyard, and Pankatops activates triggers in the grave as well. So they all activate in the grave. You don't really care. Like Skill Drain doesn't really hurt you in any way. 3 Drawbird, 3 Ash Blossom. Now I went with these hand traps because Draw is good going first or second, and Ash Blossom is just generic against all like the slower deck, the road deck. So I think out of all the cards that I'm playing with the droplets as well, that these do make sense for my 6 hand traps. And then for the 7th and final card, 40th card is Pankatops. Now Pankatops very good. It's really good when you go second and start with it. It's good against pretty much every single deck right now, and it always will be. It's just really solid. And if I go first, I can just banish it with Roxy's, no problem. So I think it makes sense playing Pankatops as my 40th card, and as a whole, I think these 40 is perfect. There's not a card I would cut for a third Desires before you think about that. Trust me, you won't like 3 Desires and 40 cards in this. But, you know, it's your choice. Pankatops, solid. So moving forward, this is what I think is the best 40 card list, main deck list for prank kids. The extra deck. Of course, 3 Meow Meow. 2 Doodle Doo. I don't think you need 3. You could play 3, but playing 3 of them and 1 Bow Wow doesn't, like, the third one would come up less likely than the second Bow Wow, in my opinion. So with that logic, and after testing loads and playing loads, I think 2 Bow Wows correct. Now, not often the second Bow Wows come up. There has been times where I needed to make it, but not as often. And with that as well, there's been more times I wanted to make a second Bow Wow over Totally Awesome. So this took the spot over Totally Awesome as well. However, you could cut this for Totally Awesome if you felt like the format needs Toad in. But right now, it really doesn't, considering what else we're playing. Rooster's solid. It's really, really good. If the format starts to be playing more Dogmatica, then I probably would recommend taking the Bow Wow out for the Toad, because then you can just send this and Toad. But right now, I took over the Toad for this. But dependent on that, I do think sometimes I will trade the Bow Wow for the Toad. Depends what tournament I'm playing in. We got Rocket Ride and Weather Washer. Now I did start with 2 rockets at the start of playing with this deck, and I found that I never needed a second one. I only really needed a second one if I drew Instant Fusion. That was the only point, and that was like later on after like my resources have gone. But if I'm set up with pranks, and now that I'm playing 2 pranks, I would never need a second Rocket Ride. So sometimes I could just go Weather Washer, and then with Instant Fusion in my hand, have this as as the backup in case they do respond, like with Nibiru, etc. 1 Butler. You don't need 2. No one's playing the Dragon Link with Silver Rockets, so you don't need 2. And then the nightmares, we started with these two, Phoenix and Unicorn, and Phoenix and Unicorn are solid, like very, very good. Like they will pretty much have spots in extra decks up and coming for the next few years, I'm sure. And then I found that I needed Cerberus quite often. Cerberus came up a lot, and I felt like it's needed because you need more ways to clear creatures, like more ways to clear their monsters, and this definitely fixed that problem. And it's very cheap to make as well, so Cerberus. And then the final one is access code. Access code's broken. I don't really need to explain it. The fact that your opponent can't respond for when it gains attack or destroys things on the board is on your opponent's side is just crazy. So this card is so good. The fact that you can make it with 2 monsters instead of 3, like Boral Sword, etc., is just insane. So yeah, this definitely takes the final spot. So this is the extra deck. And now to the side deck. So the side deck, there's a lot of spots this deck can play. There's a lot of cards you can have in this deck. So after testing loads, I found that these cards deserved a spot in the side deck if they were in the main deck. And it was really interesting trying to fit the correct ratios in, but I believe these are the right ones. 3 Nibiru. Nibiru's solid. I did try it in the main deck, and I liked it in the main deck. However, I felt like the other cards in there now deserve more of a spot than Nibiru, and that might change moving forward, but with what I've played against and with the current metagame as it is, I think this is the right choice. Now, on stream, you know I've been hyping this card up a lot. I think it's a very solid card right now, and it is Alpha, the Master of Beasts. This card is insane. It really fixes a lot of problems against Dragon Link. It's also really good against Dogmatica Shadol, and the card is just amazed me every time I've used it. I really do like the card. I'm a big fan of it. I actually think the card's quite cheap right now as well. So if you have any, if you don't have any, get them because it should increase in value. I'm sure they're not really that expensive. Like Secret Rare's like £20. So then we have 2 Twin Twisters. Now I decided with the main 3 Cyclones over Twin because I felt like Cyclones did a lot more against the matchups I struggle against, and also if I'm going second, I'd rather not trade 2 cards to destroy, like an Invocation or like a Field Spell, or then Cyclone. And also Cyclone can get rid of the traps in the Eldritch deck. I found that's really important because we don't really struggle against many other decks, like in all honesty. And Cyclone's really good against banishing Schism, which is essential because if you Twin Twister the Schism, it goes to the grave and then I'll just add it back. And that just really screws you over if they regain control of the board, and then the Schism will just make them win. 2 copies of that only can be 1. Now, we did main 3 of these in the beginning. I liked it. However, it weren't amazing all the time against all the decks. So as I found moving forward that other cards took more priority over this, and then now it's down to 2 in the side deck. 3 Solemn Judgments. Oh boy, this card. Insane. Solemn Judgment, man. Every time I had this card, and when I went, like, if I lost like game 1, or if I won game 1 and lost game 2, going into game 3, and I started with this, I just felt like I was never going to lose. Really, like, this card is so good. So good. And then the final card is 3 copies of Evenly Matched. Interesting, this card, because I only played with it yesterday for the first time. And every time I had it, it was great. It did what it needed to do. And in theory as well, it just kind of fits. It answers a lot of the problems that the deck does struggle with as well. So I don't think I could cut these. Like I really think Evenly Matched is now as important as Nibiru in the side deck. So I don't think I'll cut these. And I think looking at this side deck, there's not a card I could cut. There really isn't. Really is not a card I could cut out of this and change for something else. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed this deck profile. This is the final version of Prank Kids. Well, the best version of Prank Kids that I've concluded with. Would I change it again? Who knows? I stream often. I stream pretty much every day now on Twitch. I'm competing in different Remote Duel tournaments, supporting different locals in the UK. I'm also competing in the Extravaganza and the LCS next week. I'm going to be playing a lot. The goal is to crush the YCS that's up and coming. Test this out. Trust me, I think you'll be amazed with how this deck flows, and also with the ratios being what they are, I don't think you'll struggle that much in today's metagame with this list. So guys, if you like this sort of content, let me know below. If you're not subscribed already, click the subscribe button, because I will be uploading more deck profiles in future and giving you more analytical reviews of the deck and cards themselves. And yeah, so this is Prank Kids, guys. It's a prank. Big fan of it. All right, peace, take care.